room. What you will not be able to see is where they're sending their votes. All right. So I'll leave you to your decisions, and you have 5 minutes to make your first decision, starting now.
What we did today was divide the conference participants in 6 groups. Each group was representing one country, of which we had a representative alumni here with us. We had Colombia, we had Kenya, we had Pakistan, we had Canada, we had Serbia, and we had Germany. And what happened today was that each of these groups was composed by the participants of the conference. They had to make decisions in the same way and with the same dynamics that these countries make their decisions. And in doing these decisions, then they had to come up with elections, and those elected will have to make the decisions that affect the international community. What was happening today was that many of the countries acted according to those rules in very different conditions. The key difference here is that we have a well-educated, very well-positioned democracy, and from there, our participants are taking place. So it just makes an emphasis on the need to educate our people and the need to change the systems as well back at home.
What kind of organization is YES, Youth Encounter on Sustainability, exactly?
Well, actually, YES did not start as an organization. It comes out of an academic initiative, which I will explain a bit later, who was behind it. And the first idea was to organize summer courses for upper graduated students in order to break out the monodisciplinary knowledge, which today is at the universities, and to offer a kind of multicultural, multidisciplinary teaching in sustainability, which mean what are the real challenges of our times and how can we go about. And we have based this course on a new pedagogic basis where we teach, of course, facts about different sustainability issues like energy, water, climate, but also society, democracy. But then it's the interchange between these different cultures, which they do in discussion groups, is maybe the most important thing. And we add in emotional elements and practical learning. So it wasn't an organization at the beginning, but we'll come to the point how it evolved then towards a kind of an organization. Because the idea behind this to have these young people coming from different cultures, bringing them together to a basic course, which is 17 days in a remote place, away from the towns where they actually live together for 17 days, day and night. And after that, they become a member of the so-called YES alumni. And it's a kind of a loose organization. They get linked in a network so that they go on helping each other with future projects, creation of NGOs, future careers in sustainability.
From where are the students coming from?
Well, we started this, the first course was done in the year 2000. And meanwhile, we have now 10 years of YES, and we just made a beautiful book about these 10 years. And in these 10 years, we have educated 1,200 students from 115 countries and about 60 different academic disciplines.
Who was the founder of YES, and since when does it exist?
Well, I don't want to be egocentric, but I'm actually the founder. At the time, I used to be the director of the AGS, which is the Alliance for Global Sustainability. That's a university partnership which started in 1997 between ETH Zurich, MIT Boston, and the University of Tokyo. And basically that organization was to do common research in sustainability fields. But then I brought in the idea of also doing something for education for the students, and I created actually this Yes movement, which became then a movement in the year 2000. And since then, as director from AGS, but then also as director from ETH Sustainability, the Center for Sustainability at ETH, I have guided the whole process and widened it, always together, of course, with other professors from these 3 member schools.
Who is financing and or supporting Yes?
That's a good question. It's obvious that at the beginning we started, of course, with financement from this Alliance for Global Sustainability. They had quite a good chunk of money to do research, and they allowed me to pay for these first courses. We used to do 1 to 2 courses per year. Then it grew to 4 or 5 courses. In a second stage, it was actually organization-wise taken over by ETH, so a big part of the money came from ETH, but I relatively early started also to look for sponsorship, and since 2008 I retired from ETH, and I have now created an own organization under the name of ACTIS, Activating Talent in Sustainability, to further develop this Yes movement, and now we are completely dependent from external sponsors, which is a big task, I have to say.
In the past, have there enough students who want to involve themselves?
Well, I mean, for each course we have some 150 applications, and we can, as maximum, we take 40 students. We concluded that 40 is a group where you still have the good group dynamics. If it's more, it's no more working so well. So in a group of 40, we want to have as many nationalities as possible. So it's always between 25 to 30 nationalities. And we want to have all disciplines there. So we have from psychology to building, civil engineers, we have all together. And that's actually this mixture which creates this kind of empathy that we would like to create. And it's clear that the students from developing countries, which it's about half of the students are coming from poorer countries, they cannot afford the participation fee and the flight, so we have even to support them. Yes, we just did a study this year, and in our new book, 10 Years Yes, actually it is described. We made a research, what was the outcome, what is the impact of these students on a long term, and it's absolutely amazing. I mean, there are certainly over 100 organizations which have been created by Yes students, and it's about half of the Yes students got involved in projects or in creation of own NGOs, organizations, or to participate in such organizations. I mean, a good example is actually this Swiss organization called My Climate. That's a compensation of CO2, which started with 3 Yes alumni. And of course, I was helping them at the beginning a little bit financially. Now it's an organization with 40 employees. They do compensation not only in the airline business, what they used to do, they do it with car fleets, they do it for events, they do it for consumer goods like with Migros and Coop, there are arrangements. And the amazing thing is that the 3 founders, they started 3 years ago an own private organization in the field of CO2 compensation, but with governments and with big enterprises. And in 3 years now they have 8 offices around the world with about 50 employees. So I think that's one of the famous examples, but there are many, many others. And these students, through this network, we have an own web page, they help each other by developing, they are constantly in contact, also showing where is there a chance for a career, where is the chance for a job. And actually, just this year, we have now created an association, the YES Alumni Association with 1,200 members, and we also offer specialized courses for people who have done this basic course. So, for instance, we had a course on water, just the issue of water, 1 week in the Sinai Desert in Egypt, because I said if you want to talk about water, go to the desert. There you can see and feel what it means if there is no water. So we try to offer additional educational elements and help after they have done their basic course.
Are you finding open doors with your concerns by the decision makers?
Well, that's a difficult question. I would say, in theory, yes. Especially the professors, we have about 150 professors and experts who were involved during these 10 years in the YES courses, and there is a core team of maybe 40 such experts who regularly come and teach and discuss with the students in these courses, and they think this is one of the most important things. But on the other hand, if you look for sponsors and you come with an educational approach, the standard answer is, well, the schools shall do that, the universities shall do that. And the point is that the universities don't educate enough in these challenges for the future. They only educate in specific disciplines. And I would say, yes, there is a good understanding, but when it comes to financing, then there is a kind of hesitancy.
Which are the actual activities of YES?
Well, as I said, the basic thing is to do YES courses. Then the second step is that they are linked in this network. So there is the exchange. I have daily 10 to 15 emails from students asking for help also in their own discipline. For instance, somebody was asking, for my thesis, I need a map, a very, very specified map from the North Pole. Where can I find it? Within 15 minutes, he got 10 answers. So that's certainly an important activity. And then, as I said, we try to put in specialized courses, but all depends on the money available. And then, of course, I always have to help for the creation of new organizations. And now with this association that we have created this year, I hope that we can more develop regional and local activities to help, especially in developing countries. So it's all in development.
So we are to the last question. What brings the future for YES?
The future for YES, well, I believe for me this is actually a movement of young people to think about their challenges for the future. I'm already retired. The future is limited, but these young people, they have to take the challenge from what we have left them. And I hope to create a kind of a youth movement which is not too much organized and fixed, but which helps them to think further for the future. And it's actually amazing when you listen to comments of students. And always at the end of the course, I ask the students, what do you now personally do? Now we have been together for 17 days. So what would you say that you do concrete tomorrow? And amazing, about half of the students have a clear answer. One says, I only go by bike. Simple, practical things, because the course is directed to practical realization. It's not just theory. So I hope that this kind of movement will grow. There is another interesting thing what happened actually. There is one student here, actually now here in Braunwald. He has created an own organization in Serbia based on the same premises like YES. And now he's doing it regionally for the eastern countries. So I also hope that we can plant some seeds in other cultures. That's why we do the courses in different countries in the world, so that other type of educational systems will pop up. And I don't want that they're all under one control.
Today we engaged in an exercise that is called a simulator. What we simulated during the afternoon were the dynamics of fish banks, basically. We engaged the participants of the conference in making decisions that would affect the common well-being. And the result of this exercise was that collectively the group performed very poorly. This maps very well the scene at the international level when we're trying to manage commons, such as climate. The most recent and most typical example could be the Kyoto Protocol negotiations, when the international community got together to do too little, too late. What the ES course participants brought to this conference was a hypothesis that our democracies and our systems for making decisions are basically outdated. We created them at a time where the challenges that we're facing today were simply unimaginable. And today we need much better systems that allow us to see the complexity and the magnitude of the changes and the changes and the challenges to come in the next few decades. Perhaps for many of the dynamics that we try to change, it is already too late. But what is clear for us is that we need more clarity in the perception of the systems within which we're operating. We need clarity in the fact that decisions made at a national level now affect much beyond your borders, the globe. We need decisions and clarity in the fact that today the community is not anymore your nation, but the global community. We need a transparency in the way these decisions and these systems are being used worldwide. But apart from that, we need the design of effective control mechanisms at a global level that have a mechanism also to sanction those who break the agreed rules. We need conductive value systems, which is only something you can achieve through education. And lastly, you need acceptance of social, economic costs of engaging in sustainability. We have claimed today that changing will be very expensive. It will be very difficult. But not changing the patterns, in our view, is simply unaffordable.